Now, okay, so you start to hit the scene. The recruiting is starting to happen, and we get to 1990. Now, did you go to college, or were you drafted out of high school?
I got drafted out of high school. As soon as the high school season started, my senior year, I had already committed. I had committed to Texas A&M.
Okay.
I had an 80% scholarship, I believe, 85%.
Yeah.
Just after, ultimately, at some level, right before I committed, Mississippi State called. And I'm like, well, are you going to give me one of my 5 senior trips?
Right.
They're like, no. He goes, you come down on your own, you'll understand, and then you'll pick us. I go, see that? I'm going to Texas A&M. Thank you. I'm coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was like right after the College World Series, LSU had won. That, I guess they played on a Sunday. That Monday afterwards, I got a call from LSU. And I'm like, I just verbally committed like 2 or 3 days ago to Texas A&M. Yeah. They're like, oh, damn. So, I mean, now, that would have been,
you could have switched
the one.
Right. Now, you know how nowadays you can just flip. You can verbally commit, decommit, go to. Was it like that then too, or? Yeah,
I think so, but it was a little bit more frowned upon.
Okay.
To do that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
all right.
Cool with it. But yeah, getting into my senior years when the professional scouts were coming out. Because then it turned out that I was getting 10, 12, 14, 16 pro scouts, radar guns, stopwatches, and we would take infield before the game. And I'd just be like, throw the ball to second base, throw it around, do whatever. And they were like, hey, I need you to throw the ball to second base. After pop time, I go, I'm like, why? I'm like, my arm is killing me. You're playing 3 games a week. You're, all the balls you're throwing, I'm still pitching a little bit too. I'm going, my arm's killing me, Doc. Like, I don't want to throw the ball to second base. And, I think the most we ever had at one of the games for recruiting was about 16 scouts.
Wow. All there to see you.
Oh, yes.
Man, that's big time.
Luckily, something that helped me out was Mike Piazza graduated from Phoenix Hills as well.
What?
So
I didn't know that.
He was a senior when I was a freshman. So having him do what he was doing, it helped bring some scouts around.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, word started going like, well, who's this other kid? Like, this guy's breaking all of Piazza's records.
There you go.
Who's that?
Yes,
so that helped out a little bit, because Mike didn't have a left field fence. So he learned how to hit the ball to right field.
Yeah.
And used to hit balls over a right field fence like it was going out of style.
Right.
I couldn't do that in high school. So I had to try to hit it over their head.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, that's I think the biggest thing was 16. 16 was the most at one point. And that's where it kind of all started.
Yep.
Then the first scout that came over was Bobby Malkmus with the Cleveland Indians. Sat down and met with my parents, and they're like, listen, we're interested. If we draft you, would you be interested in signing? And we're like, what do you mean draft? Like, what do we mean?
What is it? Right.
At the time, I think they had Sandy Alomar behind the plate.
Yeah, Cleveland.
Like, well, why would I want to sign with you guys? Like, Sandy Alomar's there. Like, he's a stud.
Yeah.
Not realizing, like, hey, you got to work your way up to the minor leagues.
Yeah, exactly.
On, so
yeah,
that was the first guy that we talked to.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Gotcha. For Cleveland.
Yeah.
Now that ramped up. I mean, is that right when the season? I'm assuming the season starts around March for you guys over in that area.
The first Monday in March.
Okay, first Monday in March.
Yep.
So and then we do the draft. You got TV shows.
Was
for the
in
draft.
June. It was the first 3 or 4 days in June.
Now you got MLB Network. They film the draft big time. Okay, cool. But back then, how did the draft work? Like take me to draft day. It's 1990. I mean, the night beforehand, do you know that you're going to get drafted? Are you pretty excited about it, or
no clue? Because the only person who really ever talked to us was Bobby Malkmus with the Indians. Okay. No one else really talked to us about anything.
Yeah.
No, I'm just like, all right. Well, people are saying, yeah, you might get drafted. I'm like, okay, great. I'm like, well, my dad's like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, can I stay home? He's like, yeah, well, what do you do? I go, well, let's go play golf.
There you go.
So we went out and we played 18 holes of golf.
Nice.
Nice. I don't know how many rounds they did on day one. I know back then it was still like 50 some rounds because I think Piazza was 52nd round and he was 1 or 2 years ahead of me when he got drafted because he went 2 years at Miami-Dade, I believe, then got drafted.
Okay, and then went. Okay.
Yeah, so I still had 2 more years to go, and it was like in his second year because they were trying to get him to play first base.
Yep.
2 years into it is when I think they switched him to catcher.
And
that's when I got drafted, and then eventually decided to sign late in August. I think I had 11 days to go before I was supposed to report to school.
Well, that's what I was. Yeah. So you were prepared to go to school. You were getting ready to pack your bags and head to Texas.
Yeah. I mean, Oakland drafted me. Yep. You know, they called and like, okay, great. You know, then negotiations started to happen. This is what we'll offer you. I'm like, I don't know. What should I do? What should I not do? You know, my parents finally left it up to me and says, you know, write the pros and cons down.
Yeah, there you go.
And I said, all right, well, I wrote everything down. I said, all right, well, what's the thing about college? I'm like, well, I have my college tuition paid for. I'm like, all right, well, I promised my parents, which I still got to uphold that end of the bargain, that I would go back to college and get my college degree. Well, I'm 51. I ain't going back to college. Right. So mom and dad, sorry, the degree's not going to happen.
Hey, you're doing all right for yourself.
I'm graduating from the University of Life.
That's right. There we go. There we go. So Oakland. Okay, Oakland drafted you. This is sixth round pick.
Yep.
Okay.
And you had no clue. How did you? The 4 aces. They had 4 first round draft picks that year. So Todd Van Poppel, Kirk Dressendorfer, Dave Zancanaro, and Donnie Peters.
Okay, gotcha. Now, were you on the golf course when you found out you were drafted?
I don't remember.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, and I don't even remember whether they did how many rounds they did in the first day.
Yeah,
I think they did multiple. Like they got all the way through 10 rounds or so.
Okay,
probably on day one. So I think at some point, I did find out. I can't remember. I think I was at home at the time.
Yeah,
like that's so long ago.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm like, man, where was I? I know I played golf with my dad, but after that, I don't.
I got you.
At that point, you didn't have cell phones either, so you weren't getting called.
Yeah, you could wait till you get home to get that call.
we had the bag phone for the cars. That's right. What we had.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I remember those. Now, and you know, I was going to ask you if you were nervous at all, but the answer is no, because you didn't even know that you were going to get drafted. You were prepared to go to school. I mean, it just happened for you, and I mean, that may have been a blessing in disguise. That way you're not all, you know, worried about it and figuring out where you're going to go. So you're just kind of going with the flow. Thank you for watching the FCO Show YouTube channel. Like and subscribe here to stay up to date with the latest highlights and clips and keep up with all things catching.